if we're just looking for that 1 to 5%, 1 to 3% of the market that are ready to transact yesterday, in any given thing what we do, in any given business, we can't really scale a real business, and we can't really build a predictable revenue that's growing eventually without you, right? Yeah. If you want to build a team around you, want to actually build a predictable revenue, predictable business, you can't really just rely on that 3%. Let's see, people joining. And Karen, can you also, once new people are hopping on, can you drop to the chat that, hey, we'll have a short Q&A at the end if we have time, and then we can go over those. Hey, what's up, all? Nice to meet you all. Haven't seen all of your faces yet, but today we have Gus here. I'll double check that we first go live in the Facebook group as well. Let me see, live on Facebook. I'll see if we can go through the group. So if you have basically any questions, you can drop to the chat. Karen will be going those through, and then we'll go through those at the end of the call. Basically, if you have any questions to Gus about today's topic, so anything, he can help you out on that end of the call. Let me just double check we go live. Karen, can you see that in the group yet?
No, it's not yet live.
Well, this is fun.
What? We can just also share later if that works.
Yeah, let me see if I can get it working here then. Okay, for some reason, it's not allowing to go live in the group right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to post this recording right after the call to the group as well, and also to the university for all clients. But I guess we dive in. So today, as mentioned already, we have Gus here, the CEO of Power ISA, basically talking about the biggest mistakes when it comes to converting Facebook leads, and kind of like sharing his knowledge and insights when it comes to setting appointments from Facebook leads and closing appointments from Facebook leads. So we'll, as mentioned briefly earlier on the call, if you have any questions, you can drop to the chat. We'll try to see if we can spare like 5-10 minutes at the end of the call to go over some of the questions. But yeah, let's dive in. Gus, I guess I'll let you introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about who you are and about your background in real estate and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks to appreciate, the invite here, talking to you folks, because it's a topic that I'm very passionate about. This whole problem space of the Facebook lead opportunity, because it's a massive opportunity, Facebook lead generation, Facebook marketing for real estate, and the conversion problem that comes with that, right? So, one of the best things about Facebook is that it's ubiquitous. You can reach so many people. It's a great way to generate interest, generate prospects. But the conversion part of it, you need both. You need the lead generation problem solved, and you need the conversion problem solved. They're two. I view it as two separate problems, right? You kind of usually people can fix one of the two, but you're not going to be successful. You're not going to be successful if you don't fix both. You got to fix both, right? So it's a topic I'm definitely passionate about. You're the expert on the marketing side, on the lead generation side. My expertise is on the lead conversion side, and that whole aspect of it, right? My background is actually in software. I'm a software engineer. I worked at Microsoft for about 10 years, and then realized my talents were elsewhere. So I became a real estate agent of all things. and did that full time since 2013. So this year I'm going to turn, 10 years as a full-time agent. I've been licensed since 2010, doing it like nights and weekends with my wife. But I jumped in, did full-time starting in 2013. And since then, I built my ISA company and went full-time on this appointment setting ISA company as of 2015. So it's kind of 2 years into the career because I saw it being such a huge opportunity, right? And it used to be like my side gig. I would help people get ISAs, virtual ISAs on the side. It became a full-time company in 2016. I focused 100% on this because I just saw a huge need. There's a huge need for this service, okay? The huge need, because even though you get all these internet leads, and it could be, Facebook, from Google. Back when I started the company, our biggest thing was Zillow, Realtor.com, outbound circle prospecting. That was the biggest need. And the industry has evolved over then, right? If you're doing Zillow or Realtor.com, marketing now, I don't know what you're doing. I don't think that's a good idea. It's not as good as an opportunity as it was a decade ago, right? That was then. This is now, right? The big opportunity right now is Facebook. So my expertise has been building calling teams, building conversion teams, to convert a lot of these inbound leads, and the follow-up that goes into it. For one of our projects, just one campaign had about 20 callers on it. We called about 250,000 Facebook leads for one campaign, one project. And that's the one we've done the most metrics on, the most measurement, the most analysis on. And so we've done this job at a high level. Called many leads, specifically from Facebook. Facebook was 1% of our business 10 years ago. Now it's like 70% of what we do, Facebook leads, converting Facebook leads, because it's such a big opportunity. So that's where I'm coming from. I know that's my expertise. We helped place about 200 ISAs, appointment setters, in this role last year alone. Just last year, we placed about 200 folks with real estate teams, individual agents, mortgage brokers, investors, right, with different calling teams. So Dad, we definitely do this. We work in all 50 states and almost every province in Canada. We've got clients. So, we've helped about 1,300 real estate agents, loan officers, investors over the last 7 years. So happy to, provide provide my expertise, chat with you. You're a super expert. So it's always great to talk shop, with someone that knows as much as you do. So I'm ready for it. Let me add it.
Awesome. Appreciate that. And let's dive in. You have a bunch of knowledge and insights about like the conversion part. So as the topic of the masterclass today goes over the biggest mistakes when it comes to converting specifically Facebook leads. So I guess we dive in. Can you explain to me kind of from like the breakdown? How do you get in? Let's say you have a home evaluation lead. How do you get them to pick up their phone, and then from getting them to in-person meeting, and then like going from there? Maybe like, do you text them, to call them? When do you call? Kind of all that stuff. Can you give a nice little breakdown of how the process works?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the biggest things that I want to talk about today is I actually want to take a step back, because that's the tactic that you have to do that. And I want to get into the tactical aspect. But it's step number one. I want to take a step before that, because I think one of the biggest, we're talking about mistakes, right? The biggest mistakes about calling these Facebook leads is I think that you approach them the wrong way. The mindset isn't correct, right? And that might seem like a very, up in the air kind of subjective thing. No, I want to be very specific about why the mindset is different. One thing you need to understand about these Facebook leads is that they have a process. They have stages that they go through. As real estate buyers, as real estate sellers, right? As people, and buyers are most buyers are sellers anyway. So buyers and sellers, they have the same kind of process they go through. They go through and I'm not making this up. This is actually from I saw a coach talk about this at a great level. If you want to do Facebook lead conversion, I recommend this book. It's a really good book. And I know the coach personally is a great guy.
Barry Jenkins, right?
Barry Jenkins, yeah, great guy. And he's a real estate coach. He's primarily a real estate trainer, right? So really buy into that. And him and I are, of one mind when it comes to this process. These leads go through stages. Stage number one is the planning stage, okay? Stage number one is the planning stage. They're thinking about doing something, right? They don't have any concrete, not the planning stage, the dreaming stage. That's the first stage. They're dreaming of doing something, okay? They don't necessarily have a plan in place. They don't necessarily know, right? Where are they going to go to? How many bedrooms and bathrooms? What's the, how much are they going to net from their home sale? They don't know these things yet, right? They have these vague notions. They might be realistic, they might not be, but they haven't spoken to someone that knows what they're talking about yet, not yet. It's the dreaming phase. They're in the dreaming phase. It's the largest amount of people in the funnel. That's why it's a funnel, right? It goes from larger to smaller. The largest section of that funnel, the intro, are these folks in the dreaming stage, right? They're dreamers. They're not sure what the plan is, but they know they want to do something. They know they want to sell their home, which means they probably want to go somewhere else. No one gets up and says, I want to sell my home today. That's not how it works normally, right? It's, I want the vacation. I don't want to get on the plane. I want the vacation. I want the destination, okay? I want the destination. That's the dreaming phase in a nutshell. The next phase is what we call the planning phase. Now you are further along, right, in that process. Now you got to get a plan in place. If I want to move to a better school district, if I want to move to that new job, I want to look for a new job that's remote work, I want to move to another part of the country. If I want to put these plans in place, now I need to start putting things together, asking better questions, getting better advice, because I want to put a plan in place. I want to know what the building blocks are. I want to know what the steps are, and I want precise information. One of those pieces of information that I need to know is how much is my home worth, right? Because that's a key deciding factor on enabling the other stages, right? Enabling the other stages. So dreamers, biggest segment. Planners, smaller segment. Not every dreamer becomes a planner, right? Because they got to get real. They got to understand where they are right now and what the market is like, et cetera, okay? After the planning stage is what we call the shoppers, okay? Now they know how much their home is worth. They have a broad idea what it's worth. They know where they want to go, like a broad area where they want to go. Now they're looking for homes, because the way this works is that the seller doesn't go shop for real estate agents, right? That's not how it works, right? Normally, they're shopping for homes. They want the destination. They're thinking about the destination. That's what they're thinking about. What's going to happen to them? How they're going to feel? What kind of a property they're going to get for their next home? Okay, the home they have right now is just a step to get to the new one, right? It's a necessary evil, right? Going through the process of selling their home, that it's a must. Okay, well, I will do it, but what I really want is the destination. That's what I really want. They're shopping now. Okay, they're looking for homes. They're asking much more detailed questions, and it's time to think about things like pre-approval and and talking about the value of the home. Obviously, everything that they need, right? And then the last stage, the final stage, are the transactors, right? Now they're looking to transact. Now they're looking to talk to an agent. Now they need an agent they're going to reach out to agents if they don't have one already. They want to reach out to them and tell them, hey, I need help with this, right? Hey, who do you know that might be able to help me with this? They're asking for referrals. They're asking for recommendations. They're clicking on these Zillow links, trying to talk to someone to find out about that property. They're transactors. They're usually 90 days out from doing a transaction, when they're in that transacting stage. So bear with me, humor me. Let's assume that the model is correct. All models, have flaws. All models, are not 100% accurate, but humor me with this one, right? Because I've done this at a high level, and this model rings true to me for a lot of cases. All models have flaws, but some of them are very useful. I think this model is very useful to understand the flow of these Facebook leads, okay? A lot of these, again, the funnel is like this, right? A lot of these Facebook leads can be in this dreaming phase, can be in this planning phase, okay? One of the biggest mistakes this is the whole point I want to make. The biggest mistakes I see is that when we talk to a lead coming from Facebook, that we assume they're a transactor, okay? That's what we assume. We assume all of them are in the transacting phase, when in reality, it's about 5% of them are going to be in that, or in the lower rungs of that, in the shopping and the transacting phase. I'd say both of those. Okay, maybe 5% of them are going to be in that phase. I think it's closer to 3 to 5% are in that phase. Okay, 3 to 5% are like, okay, they're going to do something, right? Okay, boom, small. It's a small number. It's not everybody. It's not everybody. Okay, you understand that. But the mistake is not real. The mistake is not that there's 5 out of 100 they're going to transact. That's not the mistake. The mistake is assuming that 100% of them are the transactor, okay? And that our scripting, our approach to them, our questions are only questions that someone that's going to sell in the next 90 days would ask. and that they have needs that only someone that's going to sell in the next 90 days is going to need. Okay. That I feel that's a big mistake. I feel it's a big mistake because you're discarding everyone else. You're discarding the rest of them. They're not important to me. Oh, no, I want the 1%, not even the 5%. I want the 1%. The person who wants to sell tomorrow. That's the person that I want, right? And that strategy, that mindset leads to failure. With Facebook leads, and with a lot of other lead generation sources, not just Facebook. Facebook's one of them, but this is a challenge because you don't understand how this funnel works. Okay, you need to understand what I recommend, right? And we're going to get to the texting and the calling and the mechanics of it, but I think this part is so important. You have to understand because what we train ISAs to do and what we recommend people do is never assume you're talking to a transactor. Don't assume that. Don't assume that. Okay, you've got to start. And you've got to ask questions and you've got to add value to someone that even if they're at the top of that funnel, they're in the dreaming phase, you can help them, okay? You can help them because what we want to do is help people, right? If you want someone to transact, there's 1% of people you can help. Most of those conversations are wasted conversations. If that's your mindset, I only want people I want people to transact with me. 99 times out of 100, you're wasting your time, right? And guess what? They can tell. The consumer knows this, okay? They can tell when, and this is what happens at too. This is the funny thing, because another mistake people make, an outcome that they don't want is that these leads no longer respond to them after the first contact. They get ghosted, right? That's an outcome. It's a very common outcome with Facebook leads. And my belief is that the fundamental reason people ghost us as agents, they ghost us, is because they're mismatched on where they are. They are in the planning stage, they're in the dreaming phase, and they hear us asking about, how many bedrooms do you want? How many bathrooms do you want? You're pre-approved for a mortgage. Let me get out there and, let's see let me have a listing presentation with you tomorrow. And they're not there yet, right? They're not there yet, right? So they automatically, they deselect, they discard themselves. They go, you know what? Ed too is a great guy, but he's looking for someone to go sell tomorrow, and that's not me. So I don't see me plenty of talking to Ed too right now. I'm early. I'm just looking right now, right? I need to wait. I'm not ready, right? And I'll get into some of these objections. These are really good objections, but the clients know their scripts. The clients know their scripts. I'm waiting for the market to bottom out. I'm waiting for something to happen. I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for that, and I'll get to that, right? Because they know their scripts. We should know ours. They know their scripts for sure. Luckily, there's only about 4 or 5 objections you'd overcome to have success with these leads, right? But that's the first mistake I see. Mismatching that process of lead conversion. The people that get it, this guy closed 1,000 transactions a year ago, okay? 1,000 deals closed because they get it. They understand that the big opportunity is talking to everyone in that funnel, not just the transactor, And, and you might have some issues with that, like Gus, they're just getting started. What can I offer them of value? So this is where it gets fun. This is like the punchline of all this, too. They don't know, the client doesn't know what they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. They only know that they don't see any value in talking to you yet. That's all you see, okay? And sometimes agents assume that they're right. Oh, if they don't want to talk to me, then they're not ready. No, okay? No, right? They're in one of these phases of this funnel. You don't know which one they're in. That's the fun part, right? Like, well, actually, you actually don't know. It's not, you have to help them figure this out, right? They might not even be, they're obviously not cognizant of what phase they're in. So if you always should assume they're at the very beginning stages, because that's usually what they want to tell you. Oh, you know what? I'm just getting started. I don't need any help, right? And typical agent will make a mistake of saying, okay, that's fine. Well, let me know when do you think you're going to be ready? Like, what's your time frame? Oh, I'm a year out. Perfect. I'll call you in a year. They call them in a year, their home's already sold. They've already sold the home. They already bought the new one and they moved in 3 months ago, right? Like, wait, hold on, but you told me you were a year out. They don't know yet how far out they are actually, okay? But the missed opportunity is this. You should love talking to people that are just getting started. That should be your response to that objection. Oh, I'm just getting started. I love talking to people that are just getting started. It's the best place to learn about the process. And I'm here to help you, right? Because I'm a professional, Mr. Lead, and I do this every day, okay? I love helping folks, right? And, you know, and if you're early in the process, that's awesome. Do you have an idea yet of where you want to go, right? Because that's the destination, okay? They might not know exactly how many bedrooms and bathrooms they want, but they probably have a good idea where they want to go, probably do. Or you can ask this question another way, okay? You can ask them, okay, I totally get that. I love it, right? What would you change about the home you have right now? Is there anything you would change? It's another great question. It's a conversation starter. Even if they're at the very beginning of the process at two, they can answer that question. That's a very answerable question. They can't talk to you about pre-approvals and they haven't spoken to any agents yet. They can't talk about those things yet. That's going to discard them. That's going to convince them that they shouldn't be talking to you yet. They're going to ghost you if you go hard on those kinds of questions. Take it a step back, have a conversation with them. What would you change about the home you've got right now? Okay, that's excellent. That's great. That's awesome. And what have you seen out there, right? What have you seen in the marketplace that you would like in your future home? Not bedrooms and bathrooms, right? Not 1 story or 2 story. I mean, what have they seen out there that they'd like to do? Oh, you know, maybe this, maybe that. Okay, that's awesome. That totally makes sense because I'd like to share something with you. I want to share some great information with you, right? Because knowing what's going on in the market right now and knowing the value of your home can be a great way, right, to know how much home you can afford. That's one of the first steps I recommend. And there's no obligation here, no obligation at all. I'd love, whenever you're ready, I'd love to take a quick look at your home. I can tell you how much you can get for it so you can make further on the line because you're a year out. Of course, you're a year out, right? You shouldn't argue with people about these things, right? Of course, excellent. I love that. Everything they say, those are called power phrases. Amazing. That's great that you've got that, right? You don't want to be combative with them. Well, what's holding you back? When do you want to sell now, right? That's the wrong conversation to have on that first contact. It's a wrong conversation to have, right? Getting combative with a Facebook lead. It's not really going to lead you anywhere, okay? But discover and offer them something of value. I'd love to share with you my guide to help folks understand how to improve their home, right? How to bump up the value. And I think you guys have a lead magnet around this, like some piece of content. I'd love to share this with you so that when the time comes, when you're ready for it, you can have it there. And some of these improvements take some time, take a little bit of investment, right? You should have that. When can I drop that off? When can I drop off? It's a, again, that's a little trick. Like you print it out. Let me take this over to you, right? I'd love to do that. And you know what? I can take a quick look at the property, 5 minutes. And I give you I can give you a better estimate than what's going to be here from the automatic model. Because I don't know if you knew this, but all these tools, Zillow, Redfin, all these different tools that give you home valuations, they have this fundamental flaw. They don't see the inside of your home, okay? So if you've done anything to improve that, or you need an improvement to be made on the inside, that automatic valuation is limited. There's only so much it can do, okay? But I can help you to put this plan together to get you to that destination. That's my recommendation, okay? You can use this information to help you. So there's a few things when you're talking to these leads, these home valuation leads, these seller leads. You're forbidden from saying listing your home. That word doesn't exist. Get rid of it. Toss it in the garbage. They're not contacting you to list their home. Okay. They're not asking you how to list their home. They're not asking you to come to do a listing appointment. Remember, we're talking about where the lead is, right? Where are they mentally? Where are they in these different stages? What they want, there's some curiosity in finding out the value of their home. There's some curiosity in bumping up the value of their home, improving their chances of selling, right, in the market. That's where they are. That's where they are. And that's what you should help them with, okay? That can lead to a sale, or honestly, it might not lead to a sale, okay? But they'll always say yes, and you'll get a great conversation started with them. Because if we go down the listing and you want to sell your home, like all that part, they might not be ready for that conversation. They didn't reach out to you to help them sell their home this month, right? That's not the request. The request is, can you help me solve this problem? I'd like to know how much my home is worth, right? So start at that beginning phase, start with that top of that funnel, and your suggestions, the value that you add, the questions that you ask should be able to be answered by someone, even if they're at the beginning of the process. Because if they're further along, I promise you, it's going to be obvious they are, okay? There's no mistake in starting up high in the funnel. There's nothing wrong with that. Because if they've done more of their homework and they know how many bedrooms and bathrooms they want, and they have an idea of the value of their home, they've looked at comparable listings, they've looked on these automation tools, then they're further along. That's good. That's good news, okay? But don't assume they're at the bottom of the funnel. It's a big mistake. Probably the biggest. That's mistake 0, not even mistake number 1. That's mistake number 0. Misunderstanding how these leads work, and that the massive wins, the people that can get a 10x return from Facebook leads, understand that. And they're ready to serve the top of the funnel as much and with as much enthusiasm and energy and preparation as the bottom of the funnel, okay? Because you got to prepare. Your scripting has to be prepared. You have to know how to answer some of these objections and not discard them off the bat. Don't discard them. They don't even know what their time frame is, okay? So whatever number they give you is made up anyway. So why don't you have a real conversation with them and find a way to add value and find a way to get to the house, right? Find a reason by adding value and make your way to that front door, okay? Because that we're going to talk about that, right? Like getting to the appointment, getting to the front door, and knocking on that front door. That is such a key part of this home valuation funnel, this home valuation conversion process. That's a fundamental piece in it, right? It's a big part of it. How do we get in front of them? But that's the beginning of it. That's a long way to say, answer your question, right? How do you, well, that's step number 0. Step number 0 is like, okay, understand where they are and shoot for that top of funnel approach. Top of funnel approach is the right approach. It's the right approach, and understand what their needs are, right? Because everything else that comes after that, the people, because usually when people are not having success with Facebook leads, it's normally due to I'd say about 3 different problems. Number 1, you're not talking to enough of them. Number 1, okay? You've got 10 leads coming in and you talk to 1 of them. There's 5 leads coming in, you talk to none of them, right? You get no conversation going. That's usually problem number 1. Why am I not talking to enough of these people? Usually your follow-up game is incorrect. It's not good enough. Your follow-up game is not good enough. For these leads, we've measured this very closely. Takes about 15 to 16 attempts to get their attention, to get them to respond, to start a dialogue over text and call. Both. I'm talking about texting and calling both. So it takes multiple attempts, right? Over probably at least 30 days to get their attention, to get them to respond to you. That's the first problem. That's how you solve the first problem. 15, 16 touches across 30 days, calling, texting, and being responsive to these texts. Oh my goodness, Etu. I go into some of these CRMs and it's like a horror story. Nowhere to respond. Like no one texted this person back because they were trying to get them on the phone. Like they texted you back. Like meet the lead where they are. They're texting you back. Start the dial. If they're not picking up the phone, don't stop calling them 18 times a day. They're right there. They're responding to you over text. Start the dialogue over text message and try to get them on the phone. I mean, the goal is the phone call, always, but meet them where they are. In a lot of these markets, 50% of appointments start as a text message. 50% of appointments, okay? So texting is enough, but respond to these texts in a timely manner. Don't wait, 2 days. The text came in Saturday night and you're texting them this morning. That's not a good experience, right? So you got to find a way to make sure this is responsive, right? So don't take 2 days to respond to some of these text messages. It's not smart, right? So that's another thing. The other challenge that we see is that, let's say you're talking to some of them, right? Our goal within 30 days is that having a response from about 50% of these leads. That's the goal within 30 days, 50% response rate, okay? Like that's the average, that's the average. It can be lower, it can be higher, but that's like an average, 50% responding within 30 days. That's what we want. Once you're in dialogue with them, the other challenge is, well, none of them are converting, Gus. What's going on? I mean, I'm not getting any kind of conversion rate out of these. No one's responding to my ad. No one's wanting to meet with me. No one wants to meet with me. These leads are so unqualified. They're, none of them want to list their home. This is the worst thing ever. Okay. That's usually the next problem that you have to solve. And that problem, for me, that's the biggest problem, is that mindset part I talked about. Okay. You have to be able to have a conversation, even if they're at the beginning. That's where the massive opportunity is with these Facebook leads. It's a massive opportunity. Okay. If you understand those stages and you can adjust your approach, you're going to have much better conversations with them, much better conversations. Okay. That's kind of the other challenge of this, right? Having a better conversation with those leads, regardless of where they are at their stage. Okay. And then there's the challenge of, okay, well, how do I get in front of them? That's the name of the game. This is it. And I have some suggestions for folks that are on this call, because this home valuation type of lead, it's challenging. It's hard. It's harder than buyer leads. Getting in front of them is harder than a buyer lead. It's harder, right? So you got to be better prepared. And the key thing is that you've got to have a reason to knock on their door. And here's my suggestion, the mindset shift. If the only reason you want to knock on their door is because you're invited to a listing appointment, you're not going to knock on many doors. That's not how this works. Okay. You've got to add value in other ways, because remember, they're not reaching out to you to book that listing appointment. That's not the reason. They're reaching out to you to learn the value of their home and how to increase that value. So use that. Okay. Do it that way. I have one of my clients that's doing, home valuation leads, and I think, and they're in a difficult market. I think they're in like New York City. It's a greater New York area, one of the boroughs, right? And every time they get a home valuation request, they again try to call, try to text, but even if they get no response, she's dropping off the best attempt at a CMA, right? She has dropping it off the next day, regardless of whether she's in contact or not with the person. And sometimes you can contact them, sometimes not. But that follow-up call is very different. Okay, I dropped this off for you. Let me know. That means I could make an even better one if I looked inside the home, right? That's being smart about it and using every tool at your disposal to get in contact and start a dialogue with these leads, okay? And it's a great way to add value. I can drop this off for you so you can have it in front of you, right? And if you're available, I could take a quick 5 minutes, take a quick look at your property, because all these other automated tools, they're useless because they can't see inside. And even furthermore, even more useless because they can't tell you what you need to change in the future to increase that value, increase the value. If I were converting home valuation leads right now, 2023, I would be a CMA machine. I would be giving as many in-person CMA evaluations as humanly possible. I would be the Uber of real estate CMAs in my area. I would be the Amazon.com, like next day delivery, right? Prime of CMAs, because getting in front of these folks, that's the game. Okay. And this is like the National Association of Realtors in the US releases this data every year, and it's the same every year. 65 to 70% of people work with the first agent that they meet with, okay? 65 to 70% of people work with the first agent they meet with. There's a connection there, right? You have an opportunity to build some trust. You have an opportunity to talk to someone and show them the value you've got. The goal is to show them value and your expertise when you're in front of them. That's it. They'll ask you for the listing when the time is right, okay? If they see you as a valuable person to talk to and an expert in how to get homes sold in this area. The listing will come to you, but most agents lose sight of that. They don't want to go meet with someone unless it's for like a listing appointment and go list the property this week. Oh, it's too soon. Let's talk later. Then so once they get further, here's another thing I forgot to mention. Once that lead gets further down the funnel, the cost of that lead increases, okay? That's why Zillow can charge $1,000 for an inbound call. They charge $1,000 in some of these markets for $1,000 to talk to a transacting lead, okay? In the hottest market, their most profitable markets, they charge 35% of the commission to talk to that high value transacting lead, 35%. And then your broker splits and taxes, everything comes out of your end, right? 100%. They get a 35% off the top because they know what those leads are worth, okay? Talking to these leads that are in the dreaming phase, planning phase, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, that's where you can get a 10x return, right? I'm talking engaging with those folks, because once the lead becomes educated, once you teach them something they don't know, that timeline can get real now. They tell you a year because they have no idea what the number is. And maybe a year will make you go away. You know, oh, stop, I'm at least a year out, right? Oh yeah, don't worry with me. Not true. And they're not lying to you. They just don't know. They honestly don't know, right? But once you have a chance to educate them, to coach them, to teach them what you know, teach them about the market. If I've got someone that's thinking of selling in this market, I want to be the market expert that they go to, the resource. If this were, I'll give you an extreme example, Phoenix, Arizona, right? Phoenix, Arizona, right now, this market. If someone talks to, you know, one of our coaches is there, and, you know, they're there and they're telling folks, you know what, I want to wait a few months. Yeah, I want to wait 3-4 months. That coach takes out his calculator and goes, if the market keeps going the way it's going in Phoenix, it's a very boom and bust market. This is normal for Phoenix. This is going to cost you $32,000 to wait 4 months if you want to sell your home in Phoenix right now. Do you think we should have a conversation about that earlier than that? And they're like, what do you mean? This is where the market is going in Phoenix, right? We should, if you're thinking about selling a home, we should talk now. I'd love to give you my advice. I'd love to help you with this, right? Because that's where the market is right now. And that's not the first thing you say to someone, but when you're building that relationship, they see you as an expert. They go, oh, wow, and I really need to talk to Gus because he really knows, it sounds like he knows what he's talking about, right? That building that relationship, building that expertise is key. That's the game. And getting in front of them is the best way to do it. Getting in front of them. My recommendation is use their need to know the home valuation as an excuse to get in front of them and give them the home valuation. If you can't print these suckers out, give it to them. You know, emailing things, giving them things automatically, autos automatically sending some of these things, you know, these automatic home valuations. Again, you know, it's better than nothing. But for me, it's like, you know, okay, well, they've got it. Okay, thanks, bye, I'm good. They don't know how valuable that is. It's not that very valuable. They don't know how to make any improvements. That's very valuable. And they don't know anything about the market. Unbelievably valuable. Okay. They think that all they need is that little automatic range the tool gives you. Oh, that's what I need. No, you need much more, but they don't know what they don't know. I don't blame them for that. I do blame the agents that don't offer them more. Like, oh no, agents, you're the expert. You know what to think about. You've done, this is why you should tell them, I'm an expert and I do this every day, right? That's why I'm the best person to help you navigate this process, even if they're early on, right? Because that is really the challenge of getting in front of them. Even if they're early in the process, it doesn't matter. Whoever builds the relationship first is going to win, okay? Whoever builds that relationship first. Instead of speed to lead, we should measure speed to relationship, right? How fast can you get in dialogue with this person and add value to them? Teach them something they don't know. I'm going to make it even simpler. The first person to teach them something they don't know is going to win, right? Forget about building a relationship. You don't have to know about their kids or anything. It's who's going to help them, you know, get to the destination first. Who's going to help them get on that journey? That's the game. And that's a very different game than most agents are playing. It's a very different game, right? And if you get that mindset, which is what, you know, and I love this book, because there's a lot about that in this book. That's a great way to understand that, right? 100%. Cool. So, I mean, I went on, that's like a 40-minute, you know, nonstop rant on that. But those are the mistakes that I see. That's usually the process. And, you know, and I don't know, we want to talk more about any one of those pieces, but that's the mindset I want to get people into. Because yes, you know, that they should speed to relationship, speed to teaching them something they don't know. Those metrics are the ones that matter the most, in my opinion.
I love that. I love the small rants there, but that's amazing. I mean, a few key takeaways that I got from there is basically discovery. Like all this, it's funny thing, like all that is basic sales stuff, right?
It is.
But we just kind of forget that stuff when we're thinking about all this. But in terms of like kind of key takeaways that I got from that, like discovery, find out where they are in the process, right? And then when you were talking about the 3 to 5% and all that stuff, if we're just looking for that 1 to 5%, 1 to 3% of the market that are ready to transact yesterday, in any given thing what we do, in any given business, we can't really scale a real business, and we can't really build a predictable revenue that's growing eventually without you, right?
Yeah.
If you want to build a team around you, want to actually build a predictable revenue, predictable business, you can't really just rely on that 3%. You have to find a way to actually help those others as well, right?
There's a book like that, Predictable Revenue, right? So, huge shout out. Love that phrase. Yeah, big one. Great book. And for people who want the 1-minute summary of what this book is about, this book, it does what Etu has done. You're building an appointment setting team, right? Build an appointment setting team, because a lot of what I told you folks right now, for the teams that are at that level that want to scale, your ISA helps you with that. Has that first conversation. Your ISA does that. Your ISA starts at the top of the funnel and helps identify, right, where they are. And even more importantly, helps you with the nurture process. Because some of these folks can be in that dreaming and planning stage for weeks, for months, right? And that's normal. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it can be very frustrating and very overwhelming for agents to move people along, right? Be adding value every month, be checking in every month, it can be tiresome, it can be cumbersome, and some agents just are kind of not built for that, right? So, and again, I understand it, I get it. You've got to do it early on. That's you are the ISA early on, and that's fine. But you got to find that way to scale, right? You got to find that way to get out of that job and do what you do best, which is get in front of people and have real conversations face to face. That's where most agents, that's where their superpower is. That's why they tell, hey, I just need to get in front of more people. That's usually the problem agents identify. And they're right on that sense, but they usually make the mistake. How do you get in front of more people? That's where the mistakes happen. But they're right. The highest and best value of an agent is getting in front of that homeowner, right? Having a dialogue with them, having a conversation with them. But it starts by what kind of value can you add that the reward is getting in front of them. I think it's a different way to ask the question.
100%. And like in terms of like building a team, and also like team of ISS and all that, I think like one of your things when you start like learn the process yourself and getting the cash flow coming in from there, and then starting to think about growing and building a team of ISS around you, I think like it is so much easier than to also kind of like outsource the appointment setting process when you know yourself that you have done it and you know how to do that, and it becomes so much more easier to scale the team, even with help like us and all that stuff. When it comes to the goal when you're on the phone with them, right? It goes back to the mindset and goes back to the discovery and finding where those people are. But like, how do you go about then, once you have figured all that out, how do you go about just like getting the in-person meeting set?
Yeah, it's all about, giving them what they want, right? Which is to know the value of their home. Great, to know the value of your home. I'd love to drop off this information for you. And if possible, I'd love to take a quick look, because I can give you an estimation right now, but the best one I can provide to you, the more accurate one, is the one where I take a quick look at the inside, because all these models have this flaw. And that's where that script comes from. All these models, I don't know if you knew this, because they don't know this actually. They don't know that, right? They don't know that these models can look inside the home. Only you can, right? And obviously they don't know what improvements they should make down the line. So the best way to do that is to offer value up front, make that quick, easy appointment as seamless as possible, and not tie it to the sale of their home at two, because they didn't call you for that, okay? I tell my ISAs, you're forbidden from saying the word listing your home. You're forbidden from saying sell your home, okay? Right? That you can't do that yet, because these sellers, they know the game. They know what this is about, right? They know that ultimately you want to get in there and you want to sell their home. Right? They understand that, right? So there's no need to bring that out and just be upfront about, hey, well, if you're ready to list, let me know. Because if you're not ready to list, well, I don't want to talk to you, right? It sounds like that. Like, oh, no, I don't want to sell yet. No, I'm not committing to anyone. I'm not. They think they're going to be committed to you. They're tied to you. They don't want to show you their cards. They want to keep them close. And I tell folks, that's fine. Perfect. But let me do this. Let me help you out this way. I'd love to show you, to give you a net more accurate. So you have that for the few, like whenever you want to make that decision. But the biggest thing is, it's more accurate if I give you, if I look, take a quick look, 5 minutes, look at the inside. And even more importantly, I can tell you what kind of improvements to make and what improvements you don't even need, right? And I remember in my time as an agent, I had someone, a seller, a very smart seller, ask me, hey, should I put, $20,000 into my landscaping? And this was in an area where all the comparable listings had none of that. Like, well, like you could put 20 grand in your yard if you want to, if you feel like it, but you're thinking of moving and you're not going to get that 20,000 back, because the goal is not to get 20,000 back. The goal is to get 50,000 back from that investment. And in this market, in this area, the yard isn't it, my man, right? Kitchen, bathroom. Like that's usually where the big return on investment comes, right? And those are the little things people, need to understand. Paint. Holy cow. If most people just painted the damn thing, right? That's the least expensive thing to do. If people just decluttered and paint, that's usually what most homes just need. Declutter and paint, right? So, but again, you don't have that consultation with them over the phone. That's not appropriate. Give it to them when you're in front of them, right? Drop those nuggets of value, drop that expertise, tell them about the market, what you're seeing in the market right now, what your last clients did. What were those last wins that you delivered for your clients most recently? That is usually a face-to-face conversation. That's where it's most effective. It's most effective. And how do you add value to them? So that if you add enough value, if you make that offer useful enough to them, you're going to get permission to go to the home. You're going to get permission to do that, right? Not a problem. So for me, it's less about what's the magical closing statement, what's the script to get into the home, like. Make it valuable enough for them to let you into the home. Make it valuable enough for them, right? And if they're not ready right then and there, that's also okay. That is also okay. Great. I'd love to send you some information. And the best I can send you is this automatic valuation. It's not going to be 100% accurate. That's the best I can do right now. But also help them too, right? If they're not ready to meet right now, that's fine. They're not ready. They don't think that's a good idea. Great. Let me send you this, right? Let me send you this. And in the nurturing process, the nurturing process for them isn't checking in, you're ready to list your home yet, right? That's not the nurturing process. You're falling into the same mistake. The nurturing process is, hey, I want to share this with you. This blog post, hopefully your own blog post, not somebody else's, right? Your own blog post, your own YouTube video, right? About the local area, about what's going on in the market, right? Your own case study of how you help this seller. Oh my goodness, I just helped this person. I want to let you know we had this great outcome with this client. Check this out, right? And by the way, how's it going for you? Where are you at in the process, right? That's always the second question. Value first, and then check in and take their temperature and see where they are. But that reaction is very different, when you show them that case study, when you show them that valuable nugget, that extra piece of information, like, oh, wow, that's really useful. Thank you. Great. And by the way, how are things going, right? How's it going? And that preferably is a phone call. It can be a text message. It can even be an email, right? Preferably phone call. Text message is acceptable. If you have to, send it over email. But you're nurturing. You're following up and you're nurturing these already contacted leads. That's also a win in my opinion.
I love that. I guess we're coming to an end here. There was a couple of questions. How many do you have? A couple of minutes though, Gus?
Let's take them rapid fire. I can do my best on these.
Cool. There's Melissa asking, with the 15 to 16 attempts, is that just calls and texts, or is the email and reaching out to them via Facebook also?
So my expertise, it's just the marketing guy, right? My expertise is calling and texting. I'm talking about calls and texts. That's direct response kind of outreach, right? Email is less that. It's a little bit less that. It's more like a longer term, like nurturing, marketing piece. For me, I'm only talking about calls and texts. That's my wheelhouse.
Awesome. And then there was Anna also asking a question about doing a CMA. Do you inflate the price at all? I always do mine realistically, but I know some agents inflate the price to just get the listing because the seller thinks that agent will get more money for the property than the one that had a realistic number.
Oh, yeah, so that's a really good question. It's more like a listing appointment question, right? So a little bit further down, because when you're talking about selling price, and sometimes, that's what you always ask, who else are you talking to, right? If you're in a listing appointment situation, are you talking to any other agents? I want to know, who am I competing against? And, and I always ask, what have they said, right? What have they told you, right? Great, you want to compare, because if another agent's saying they can sell for more, oh, they can sell $10,000 more, $20,000 more, they're giving me a better price. I love that, by the way. I love that when someone's inflated their price, because I didn't make up my price, right? I've got evidence to back it up. And in a more balanced market, in a market that is not as a white hot seller's market, sellers are nervous, they're anxious, they need a pro. And I go, Mr. Seller, I'm not here to waste your time, right? I'm here to tell you what we can sell this home for in this range. My price recommendation. You decide what price you want. Price decision is yours. Okay, because I'm willing to take a listing where they want a higher price. I'm willing to take it if and only if they agree that once we get the result that I know we're going to get, we go to it's my turn, right? We go into my plan on pricing. Because if they're priced right, we're going to get a bunch of offers, no problem. If they're not priced right, the market's going to tell us what it is, right? That's a little bit of a different dialogue, a different script. But I love that objection, by the way. All this other agent told me, oh, did they really? Okay, well, what justification did they give you? Because I'm seeing right here, this is where the market is today, and I want to help you here, okay? And I'm even willing to humor them on the price if they are already agreeing to a schedule of price adjustments, pre-approved almost, right? Yeah, they do need to sign, but pre-approved, pre-agreed upon price, because I want to get them to the destination within a reasonable time, okay? So that I would even have a little bit of flexibility with that, for sure, if they understand that I'm the pro here, right? And this is the plan we're going to take to get their home sold if we need to, all right? Cool. Anyways, Etu, I got to run. But this has been a great one, man. I love it.
Awesome. I love this as well. Appreciate you hopping on and sharing 1 hour with us. Last thing, if someone wants to reach out to you, ask more questions, learn more about Power ISA and what you guys do, what's the best way to reach out? On top of that, I'll be obviously sharing a
definitely
link, but like
we have a link. We have a link. So in the notes or in the comments, we'll drop a link that you can use to get in touch with our team. You can also find me on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook. Drop me a message, drop me a direct message. Always let me know, kind of, hey, you know what, I'm working with Etu and Mescula. That's always good to know, kind of understand the context. We'd love to help out. Not a problem. So yeah, find us in the link below.
Awesome. Go there, and Gus will be having another one later on, maybe in a couple of weeks. We'll check out the schedule later, but about hiring ISAs and building an ISA team and how about to go about that process. So I'll be posting, keeping you guys up to date when that's happening. But appreciate you all hopping on. Thanks, Gus. It was awesome, and have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Have a great one.